Welcome to the Sisters in Loss podcast, a faith-based podcast that spotlights Black women that replace silence with storytelling around pregnancy and infant loss and infertility. Black women experience miscarriage and stillbirth 4 to 5 times more likely than white women in the United States, according to the CDC and NIH. Whether you've experienced a miscarriage, infant loss, or stillbirth, are trying to conceive, or have an infertility diagnosis, you will learn about resources and strategies to heal, gain clarity, peace, and hope, and find an empowering path forward after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. Freeman, and you'll hear me interview other sisters in loss from around the world who have healed from such a painful and traumatic experience by sharing their testimonies and stories to inspire and help others turn their pain into their purpose. Storytelling is powerful. Storytelling is activism. Storytelling is healing. Now let's get started. Hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
Happy to have you here. I'd like to begin every episode, obviously, with you introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about yourself and what you do.
My name is Kennedy Marie. I am a yogi and a doula. I haven't been working much this year because I've been pregnant and stuff like that. But yeah, I also do a lot of art, and that's basically me. My Instagram is Call Me Yogini. Yogini being like a title of mine. It's not just like my practice, but also how I relate to my womanhood and like my life in a lot of ways.
Oh, I love that. Well, take us back on your journey to motherhood and share with us your story.
Okay, so at 20 weeks pregnant, everything was fine health-wise. Mentally, I was kind of all over the place, but everything was fine. I was having a pretty regular day and like taking pictures, having fun with myself, doing some yoga. And then I had to use the bathroom. And in using the bathroom, I don't know if I had pushed too hard or if it was the position I was in or what. What I do know is throughout my pregnancy, it was getting really hard to hold the babies, if that makes sense. Like it was just really tight. And I would have these like growth spurt moments is what I would call it, where I couldn't do much. Like I felt like they were getting so big and I would just sleep for some days. And yeah, it became like a lot. So this day, it, I guess, popped and kind of gave way. It was a lot of fluid just gushing. And I'm a doula, so I knew that shouldn't be happening, but I was kind of in denial and just scared. I got me an ambulance and went to the hospital, and that's how I learned what PPROM was. Basically just a premature rupture of the membrane, and it was only my daughter, which was good. Not good, but better. So my son was fine. He was completely like unaffected by all of this at the beginning. The only risk at this point was infection or possibly going into labor, which could mean either one or both of them passing. It also, since I was only 20 weeks, was too soon for viability and for them to be saved at the NICU. So although I was at one of the 3 level 4 NICUs in the city at this point, they still weren't able to do much. And I had to wait even a couple days for them to move me to a certain part of the department because of some Texas law about like how they end the pregnancy. Like it's all these things. So I was just learning all this, and throughout that week, I was stressed, crying, and kind of just feeling like it was so much to have to advocate for myself at this hospital. They were just really rude, and like I was already going through a lot, and I just didn't like that, especially if I'm asking for more doctors or other questions or other like things that they can do that I've seen at other hospitals or the research I was doing. And so I decided to discharge myself from this hospital. And I went home, tried to like stay on bed rest while there. But my mom had wanted me to come to one of her properties so I could be closer to the hospital. So I went there. This was like a week later now. And the next morning I go into labor. When I am going into labor, I have to call another ambulance to get me there because I'm kind of arguing with family and nobody's really like kind of giving a fuck. So I head to the hospital. This time I'm going to Texas Children's. This is another level 4 NICU, like I said before. And I heard a lot of good stories about this place. I heard a lot of people saying that it was much better for Black women, especially being a doula like in Houston. So I get there, they tell me that I'll be giving birth either within the next few hours, the next like couple days, and it probably took maybe like 6 to 8 hours before my daughter came. I had a pretty great birth with her. It was sad, of course. I knew what was happening and it crushed me after, but I kind of knew it was coming. I had like not a lot of people around, so that didn't really make me feel good, but it was nice to just be with myself. She came breech and they guided her out before handing her to me. And everything's kind of fine. I had a personal moment with her alone from everybody before she passed, and I was really beautiful. They took great pictures of her, cleaned her up, everything. And yeah, so I stayed in the hospital for another week, and this was definitely like the hardest week of my life for sure. Having your baby next to you in a cold cot while also being pregnant with your son, trying to stay pregnant for him for another now 2.5 weeks is the timeline. And the day before they're going to discharge me themselves to let me stay home for the next couple of weeks, just to be more comfortable, I developed an infection. And that night, they're recommending that I go into labor and delivery and give birth to my son, even though now it's still not enough time. So I weighed my options, and the only other option would be to try to wait and see if the infection can go away. But that can cause a lot more damage because when I lost my daughter, they weren't able to remove her placenta. They did a procedure called delayed interval delivery, where they cut the placenta and they sew it back inside, like they sew the cervix back. So now my son is in my uterus, but so is my daughter's placenta, which is most likely causing the infection. So it could just cause so many other issues. And so, yeah, I went to labor and delivery. The lady that was with me, the nurse, she was, again, extremely rude and kind of just like dismissive. So I knew what the night was going to be like by the time the labor was progressing, and I was letting them know that I need to push. I could feel that he's coming. They looked and they saw that he was coming, and they started to get prepared, but they were saying that I needed to wait until the doctor came. And I kept telling them that I couldn't and that I need y'all to help me. Like, I can't wait. And so I remember pushing, and it was kind of involuntary, and nobody was there to catch him. And he hit the bed. I could feel it. And like, the room went quiet, and I kept asking, like, what happened? Like, is he okay? Like, what's going on? And finally the doctor's there, and she's like, no, everything's good and fine. And from my perspective, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't understand. So when they gave him to me, like, I knew that he passed. That's how I could confirm, like, okay, yeah, he hit the bed. And when my sister, I guess she recorded the whole birth, I looked back at it, I was able to see how absolutely they weren't there to catch him. She picked him up, noticed that he wasn't breathing, dropped him back down, picked him up again to cut his umbilical cord, and that's when she handed him to me. So everybody knew that he was dead, and everybody knew that's what happened. And just kind of like we're pretending to me that it wasn't the case. And like 10 minutes later, somebody comes with the stethoscope and was like, oh, let's see, like, if he still has a heartbeat and everything. And I was like, he doesn't. Like, y'all know he doesn't. So They just checked and they're like, yeah, no heartbeat. We're going to stop here and just let you know that I've looked back in the clinical notes and they said that I was in the stirrups. I wasn't. They said that he came out not breathing. He wasn't. That would mean that in the chart that there was like record of no like heartbeat, and there wasn't. They were checking him the whole time. He was completely fine. He was healthy this entire time I was in the hospital. But for some reason, in the clinical notes, they're like changing things from his birth. And yeah, so that night, I was angry, I was sad, and I felt like I couldn't really say much. The nurse that was there with me continued to get worse and worse, and like drop medication around us and like make it my fault, and like it was just a lot. Wasn't really caring about my pain meds, like all this stuff. So the next morning, I told the new nurse that I don't want her to come back in case they have to bring me to surgery to like do some other things. And I told them what happened. I told her and another doctor. The lady brought it to the nurse manager, and I ended up having like a meeting scheduled with her the next day. This night, I go back up to the other floor where all the pregnant women with medical issues are, where I had been the last week and another week at the hospital. And my nurse is in our conversation. We're talking about what it's like to be Black in America and in hospitals, specifically this one. And I had said, well, you're not Black, so you may not understand what I'm saying, but you understand like the basis of it, that care matters no matter like what. And she was like, no, I'm Black. And I was like, oh, and we just kept going because clearly you're not, but we're just not going to engage with that conversation. We continue, and then she comes back and she's like, no, I'm not Black, but her exact words were, my nigga is Black. And this is a white lady that's been with us for the last week. And she had already started to use like a Black scent over the course of the week. So we kind of seen that coming, but it was so wild. Mind you, it still has not even been a full day of me giving birth. This has only been like maybe 8 hours. So I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And what has my experience been like for the last 2 weeks? Like everything's just like hitting me. My babies are gone. Like I'm sad, but I'm also just, like I said, angry as fuck. And that next morning, the nurse manager from labor and delivery comes. We have a meeting. They try to excuse it and say like lots of different things for what could have been the reason for their behavior. But in the end, she acknowledged that no matter what work she does on her department, she knows that Black women are at the bottom for a lot of things that go on in their hospitals, and that we are highly affected. And so she can't deny like what I'm saying. The statistics, like she knows. And so she just left it at that. Said that they would have training. So then I reported the nigga comment to the nurse manager of my floor. They come in. They tell me, well, I have a Mexican husband, and this is so terrible and so sad. Like, I can't believe you experienced this. Like, oh my gosh. So I tell her, I'm like, yeah, but they also never gave me like the same treatment, for example. Like, they never cleaned my son off. He still had blood all over him, even while I was sitting in the floor. When they took pictures of him, they didn't care about how they took his pictures. They never gave me anything like memorabilia the way that they did when I lost my daughter. They didn't guide him out. They didn't do a whole lot of things. And they didn't even give me the paperwork for me to like fill out for his birth certificate. Like, they gave me all these things a week earlier for my daughter. So I tell her that. She's like, oh, I'm going to get you a birth certificate paperwork right now. She comes back and I'm like, perfect. Okay, cool. Because I'm still having meetings with other people. And I flipped to the back of it. There is another patient's information from 4 months ago filled out in this paperwork. It has the patient's MRN number, their kid's MRN number. It has the child that they lost, their date of birth, both the mom and the child. It has how many live births they've had, how many children they've lost, all these things, what room number they were in, what date they were here. Complete HIPAA violation, complete information leak on their part. And you just handed it to me. So how easily, again, mind you, this has not been but 24 hours of me giving birth. and losing my son. And y'all fucking up like this, like the level of negligence and unprofessionalism back to back to back was so crazy. And in the midst of this, the director of the nurses has come to my room. She tells me how she's had home births and she understands, even though that she works in this department, that she really respects the work that I do as a doula. And she says, you know what? I think that you would be great for the committee. She offers me a job. She offers me a job to work for the hospital after all these things I've just told her happened. And says that whenever I'm ready, she knows it's still soon, it's still early, but I would be a great help to their training and their reform within the hospital, as this will continue to be an issue. Of course, bias cannot be like healed and mended, and racism cannot be like eradicated through DEI training. But yeah, that's what she wanted to do, is offer me a job. So yeah, like this was just like some of the craziest shit like I'm experiencing, while also just like devastated. And I really at this point just want to get away. Like I'm telling everybody that I want to discharge if I can leave, and every doctor signs up on it. I don't want it to be I'm discharging myself like the last hospital. I want y'all to sign up. So by like 7, 8 a.m., everything is done. And I started to pack to leave. As I'm packing to leave, the nurse that is now here, she's coming in the entire time as I'm having an appointment on my phone with my psychiatrist, trying to set up Lexapro for the first time so that I can at least have something to help with the transition of going back home. Because mind you, I have not been back in my home for 3 weeks now. And so, yeah, she comes in, keeps interrupting me. Eventually I get angry and I cuss her out. And she leaves while I'm cussing her out. And so I'm irritated because I just feel like, bitch, you got to hear what I got to say. Like, you're not going to keep come bothering me in this time and, like, think you don't got to feel me. Like, so, and I've been playing these politic games in these people hospital, and it's like, y'all got me fucked up, for real. And I'm not. I didn't get on the bitch when she said her nigga's black. I didn't get on the bitch when she didn't give a fuck about my son. I didn't get on these bitches when it was just, like, not caring that I'm sad. Like, I'm letting y'all hoes make it, but I'm not gonna let you make it. And so I say goodbye to my son because I have to send him to the morgue. I call the funeral home to make sure they can pick him up and just everything set up. And I head out there and I tell him to go get the nurse. I'm not leaving till I have a conversation with her. She didn't want to come. Finally, she comes and I go off on her. And what's it called? Everybody has an issue because I already just told them and they had a report about the N-word. So everybody kind of on 10 already when it comes to me. So it became like a little back and forth, and then I just left. I had to find somebody else to bring my son to the morgue because I did not trust this lady or want her near my fucking kid or touching anything of mine, really. So I had to go find somebody else. Yeah, as I'm leaving, they're making comments at the nurse station, like about me and my sister. And my sister, I heard it. I came back. I'm sorry, this is not even important, but yeah, I just was angry as I'm leaving. And it just felt like, yeah, these people do not give a fuck about women. They definitely don't care about Black women specifically. But yeah, like some shit that like I could have never imagined became like my reality, and I'm having to like figure out like what the fuck is happening, like what is going on. And it's been a month since then. I'm still like, of course, grieving and dealing with all of the emotions surrounding that. But yeah, I don't know what to do from here. I know that I want to sit with some lawyers and figure out from that point. I know I want this story to be told and for people to sit with the reality of, like I said, like a level 4 NICU, one of the few in the state, let alone the city, a place that services almost 20,000 people. People drive from Dallas, 4 hours away to have their babies here in all types of highly critical situations. And that's the experience. And I don't know if it's because I'm on Medicaid, and I don't know if it's because I'm low income, or I don't know if it's because I have wicks and my sister wore a bonnet the whole time, or I don't know if it's because I say nigga freely, or because I cuss a lot, or because I don't, or I didn't feel like continuously playing into respectability politics the entire time I'm dealing with some of the worst shit I've ever dealt with. But like, I know for a fact what I experienced is definitely not something that happens to white people in the hospital. I know if it was an Asian person, y'all wouldn't be on that. I know for a fact it's like intentional. None of that was an accident. Absolutely. As much as
No,
like, yeah.
no, none of it definitely was an accident. So take us back. Tell me about what this last month has been like, after you called to have your son's body taken to the funeral home. Did you all have like a
Yeah.
memorial for your son and your daughter? How did you all handle that process?
Okay. So when my daughter and my son passed, I called the same funeral home. This funeral home is connected to the hospital. I did that because I can't afford to do anything. So I need the hospital's voucher. And I thought it would just be simple and easy to just have them go from the morgue to their connected funeral home. Within the first week of me getting home, first of all, the first couple of days, like I was having panic attacks and like nightmares and flashbacks of this whole experience. And like a week later, I call the funeral home to confirm everything has gone through and ready for me to come up there and sign paperwork. And when I call them, they tell me that there's a law that they're not able to do work with me because the father is not on the paperwork. And so they try to convince me that now I need to go somewhere else. But at this point, I'm not in the hospital, and I would have never signed off for my kids to go to y'all from the morgue. I would have never sent my kids to the morgue if I didn't have a guaranteed place. And at this point, I've talked to 3 different people. I've called them over the course of a week span, and y'all have told me something else. So at this point, I feel like y'all can't get off the phone with me. Like, y'all got to handle this. And so he calls me back and he tells me, oh, we talked to the lawyer. And so we're actually going to draft up an affidavit and it's going to be able to help you. And yeah, so now it's not going to be an issue. I had to end up starting to record all my calls with not only them, with everybody that I've been dealing with, because people are just bold-faced lying to me and playing with me. So from there, they took another week to tell me that they're not going to proceed to do business with me. So I need to find another funeral home, and they do not want to have any more contact. So a week passed again, because now I'm just extremely sad, because it's like, what do you mean something I thought I did weeks ago, something I thought I didn't have to keep worrying about in the midst of this bullshit that I'm already having to face, that like was done already, is not done. And now I have to find another funeral home. Now I got to keep telling the story. Now I got to keep repeating things that's already hard enough. And this past week, actually, I finally found one and got it set up with the social worker. And I'm supposed to be going today to go sign off on it. So I still yet to have any sort of memorial or anything, because I still can't have my baby's body sent nowhere. So yeah, I'm extremely sad, because I hate that they're just sitting there and nobody gives a fuck.
So you're kind of in limbo right now on what to do next for the
All I
voucher
can do,
system. Hmm.
um, all I can do is continue to wait. There's nothing I can do about it. I
Yeah,
go sign the paperwork, and I still have to wait on their timing.
gotcha. So the goal is once they confirm
And get
everything,
them, yeah,
and then
to
you all
cremate
will
them.
have some type of, you're gonna get them cremated.
Yeah,
Then you all will have some type of memorial for them.
absolutely.
Yeah, and then that will help. along with the grief process. So really, um, I hear the anger and frustration and even rage in your voice and in your story because of just all the
Yeah,
unfair treatment. And then because you are a birth worker and you do this for other people, who was advocating for you along with yourself to
right.
throughout this process, you know?
Really, just my little sister, and
Hmm.
she doesn't know. She's just trying with what she has. But yeah, just it's really just been us. She was there the whole time.
Well, that's good. I'm happy that you did have someone there to really support you through all of
Yeah,
this. And then
I wouldn't have been
now,
able to sit here and talk to you if I didn't have her there for sure.
yeah, no, absolutely. So let's talk about this grief journey because I feel like it is compounded. Like, obviously, it's traumatic birthing babies. But then it's also this trauma of just not being treated properly at all, just because of the color of your skin. So how has your grieving journey been so far?
Um, hmm, I don't know. I don't want to do anything. Uh, I'm extremely anxious. Um, I feel like a little kid. Like I feel like a little kid who's just mad that I can't have it go my way. Like nothing's going my way, and I just want my babies back. So I don't know. I feel like when I got out the hospital, I had a month to wait until my little sister could come back and help me move. She's literally on the way here in like an hour. And all I planned was to just like stay alive till the end of the month and take care of me to the end of the month. I'm still in the same house I was while I was pregnant. So grief has just been making sure I eat, making sure I try to clean up when I can. My friends have came and helped wash my clothes or put some food in my house. So yeah, grief has just kind of been like survival mode for sure and taking it as it comes.
Yes, like one foot in front of the other and just making it
Yeah.
to the from one day to the next. And I understand how heavy that is and just um the fight that you have in yourself to make sure that not only you are taken care of, and the people around you are coming to your aid to take care of you, but
Yeah.
also the fight to ensure that your story is heard and that
Mhm.
your babies get the justice that they deserve because of the treatment that you received in the hospital system. I don't
Yeah.
think it necessarily has anything to do with, I think it has to do with everything. All of the things that you shared above about, just being a Black woman in the system, them knowing that you were a doula,
Mhm.
them knowing, about you being on Medicaid and just
Yeah.
all of those things above just cause just this unfair treatment and left this scarred trauma. I
Yeah.
um I am looking forward to you having some closure, at least having the memorial service and being able to have some type of ritual for your babies, because I think that
Yeah.
that would help you along with your grieving journey. But I also think that, you continuing to share your story, continue to put it out there, continue to talk to your therapist, be a part of support groups. All of those things all kind of work together and they all will help you
Mhm.
as the months continue on, as the weeks continue on, as you continue to move forward with life in this new normal
Yeah.
that you're in.
Absolutely.
So um what is one word that you would use to describe your grief journey?
Mm, confusing.
Confusing. So
Yeah.
good. What is one thing you wish someone said to you? after you lost both babies?
Hmm, I don't know, but something that someone did say that I appreciated was just like drilling it into me that it wasn't my fault and there was nothing I could have did to stop any of those horrible things from happening. So I needed that reminder.
Good. Um, what does never healing alone mean to you?
Sisterhood. Um, I feel like the women in my life, my homegirls and my little sister, like we all take that extremely serious, and we all are 20 somethings figuring out life shit that none of us really like can help each other on, but like we not leaving each other alone in it either, and that's what we're committed to. So yeah, not healing alone is sisterhood to me.
I love that. So, what encouraging words can you leave with our listeners as you've navigated PPROM, these losses, and are moving forward with getting justice for your babies?
Mm, I would say that a lot of times I feel like the world and society tries to paint the strong Black woman trope on us, and it may be true, and we may resonate with it in certain moments. But I say to be careful with that, and remember that you don't always have to be a warrior. You don't always have to fight. And yes, there's moments when you do need to, but just how we code switch and turn it off and on, like there's moments where you truly need to just take care of you and maybe choose something that's easier and give yourself a break. You know, I think that we carry a lot, and it's important not to take that story on as your only story, because there's so many other versions of us and like facets of us that are also desirable and also valuable. Yeah, your strength is not all that you are.
That's so good. So, so good. Well, I'm so grateful for you sharing your story and being so brave because as you probably know, most people who come on this podcast have some time away from their losses, and your losses are
Mhm.
so fresh that
Mhm.
I am in awe of you for standing in your truth and being not only strong, because I think strong is something that you
Mhm.
just mentioned, but
Yeah.
but also having the will to fight. And
Yeah.
I truly am honored that you wanted to share your story. And we are fighting for you, sis. And we are continuing to pray for you as you continue to heal, but also get the closure you need, that you're able to memorialize your babies, but also
Yeah.
working with a legal team to help combat some of the discrimination and injustice that you experienced in the hospital.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Okay.
much for just holding space.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for so much for being on the episode. Where can we connect with you after this episode? Because I feel like we want to follow this journey, sis. You gonna show
Yeah.
us and tell us. So drop your Instagram, your TikTok. Where can we follow you?
Okay, so my Instagram is call me Yogini Marie. So call me is spelled regular. Yogini is Yogini. Marie Marie. And my TikTok is Yogini Marie. the same spelling, except there's 2 I's on Yogini and 2 I's on Marie. But I promise if you type it in regular, it'll pop up too. But yeah, my website's not active. It hasn't been. I haven't worked my whole pregnancy, but I'll definitely be sharing everything going forward. I have some things set up for me to try to get this further coverage. So yeah, keep up with the journey as I even try to figure out what's next in my own life, because I don't know. I'm moving to Dallas in literally 2 days. So hopefully I can wake up in a new place and figure out my new normal.
Absolutely, and definitely connect with the Black workers in Dallas. There's a huge network there. They will
Okay.
embrace you and help you as you navigate these next steps.
I'll do that. I'll get into that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to today's episode. For show notes, go to sistersinloss.com to stay connected with us and join the Sisters in Loss community and receive my weekly newsletter. Please go to sistersinloss.com/newsletter. That is sistersinloss.com/newsletter. Please rate and review this episode, and I will talk to you next week.